there. My name is Frankie Picasso, and I am your host today on FrankieSense More. And my guest is Dr. Kimberly Linert, and she is a transformational mentor, behavioral optometrist, and a pioneer in brain-based personal evolution. Dr. Linert has over 30 years of experience helping high-achieving entrepreneurs and purpose-driven professionals align their vision, their values, and their inner clarity to deeply create fulfilling lives. She's also the author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life, and she's the creator and host of the popular podcast, The Incredible Life. Today, we're going to dive into happiness, transformation, the science of behavior, and with insights to help you align your vision, your values, and your purpose for a more fulfilling life. So please welcome Dr. Kimberly. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Frankie.
It's such a pleasure. Kimberly, everybody has an origin story, and you're no different. You were born, you were a baby. As a child, were you a happy child? Like, tell me about your childhood. Like, I don't think you thought, oh, I'm going to grow up and be a happiness expert. What did you think you would be?
Um, no, I just was a very friendly child. It's so funny because I was shy, but I was so curious that I would actually still be friendly, and because I was interested in people, if that makes sense.
Total. Yeah. I love that. So, I was in the hospital for quite a while. And when I was there, I was really interested in finding out if people were positive or negative, and if their parents were positive or negative, because some people would do their physiotherapy and some people wouldn't. Some people were okay, even though they had like a lot of trauma, and some people weren't. So I did this non-scientific survey going around this hospital going, are you positive or negative, and what were your parents? So I'm curious about you. You're a very positive person. Were your parents positive?
Yeah, I mean, they were always very encouraging, and the example I got from my parents was that they were always doing something to help someone,
Oh, I love that.
whether it be to, give money or their time or, very involved in the church and always giving. And so they encouraged me really just to be my best. And I remember, when you have those questions, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
We had hours of talking about that. Like what would make you happy?
Were you an only child? Did you have siblings?
I was the oldest child, and then I had a brother and a sister, and my sister was 3 years younger. My brother was 9 years younger.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you probably had a little bit of a mommy role there too at some point. When did you know that you were going to become an optometrist?
Well, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian most of my
Me
younger
too. Me too.
life.
Yeah.
And then I found out when I got to ninth grade and I had to do a biology class where we dissected animals. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to cut on animals. I just want to pet them and love them. And so I decided that is not what I wanted to do. So I went looking, and I had an aunt who was a doctor, and I really admired her. So I said, well, I want to be some kind of doctor, but then I realized I don't like blood either. And
Okay.
so
Although red is your favorite
degree,
color.
yeah, is very clean. People come in, I check their eyes. I am not doing surgery on people's eyes. I am just checking to see if their eyes are healthy, give them glasses, and then, later I became a specialist in behavioral optometry and worked with people in a therapy center.
Yeah, I want to know about that. I think we all want to know about that. So what is behavioral optometry?
Behavioral optometry looks at the whole person instead of just looking at eyeballs. So throughout my history of being a behavioral optometrist, I looked at the whole person. So I had to learn natural medicine and nutrition. I looked at someone's
Okay.
emotional state. I looked at their family. I looked at their mental state. And then I helped them integrate their vision, brain, and body to become more able, whether it was for rehabilitation. So I had children who are on the spectrum or with special needs or having trouble in school, to CEOs who just needed help with decision making, but they were stuck because of their vision. Which sounds funny. What's the connection? But if you
Yeah.
have open vision, if you can't focus and then also see the possibilities with your vision, then that sticks you when it comes to making decisions.
Interesting. Yeah. So from a brain-based perspective, how does happiness fit into that?
So there's statistics about it, which people can go and look up. I mean, some of them are, genetic, and some of them are in, how we perceive our environment and how we choose to respond to our environment so we can respond or react.
Sure.
And so, you know, the
And that's a
same
good
people
difference
from the
there
same
too.
family, even twins, they respond to their environment differently. So, your happiness comes from inside. That the research is very strong on that. Your happiness comes from within, not from outside experiences. Now, outside experiences can definitely cause us some upset and anxious feelings when those things happen,
Right.
but that inner joy, that inner peace still comes from inside.
And I think that's why I did that little survey. Are you positive or negative? And like I had a parent, one is very positive, one was pretty negative, but I aligned myself with the positive parent. And I guess maybe I was naturally positive because I feel like I'm always positive. I default to that. But I think a lot of people, they do default to the negative. It's a struggle to turn that around sometimes, right?
Exactly.
So from what you would do then, like are people blocking their happiness? Do they on purpose or do they know?
I don't necessarily think so. We all have habits and filters.
Hmm.
So just like you said, you actively chose to follow the positive parent, but we all have filters from childhood, from whether it be parents or pastors or teachers. We
Yeah.
have filters, or from the people we're around, and that's why they have what do they call it? The 100 people around you is really important.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the people that you hang out with are the people that you're going to model, are the people that you're going to
That's
be
right.
like, and you're going to think like because you're hearing what they're saying all the time. So it's really
Right.
important that you spend time with people who you want to be like.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I know that you talk about values and I talk about values as a coach too. I think it's like one of the most important things that we can talk to our clients about. But a lot of people don't take time to think about what they value or what their values are. Where would you put that percentage wise, do you think, when it comes to
As how many
transformation?
people think about it?
No, for transformational purposes.
Oh, it's one of the key things. The thing is, no matter what you do, if you choose things to do or go for or think about that are in misalignment from your values, you're going to always be unhappy. You're going
Mm,
to always be at odds, even with yourself. You're not being truthful with yourself. When you're truthful with yourself, you figure out what are my values, and then you align your decisions with those values. You align your choices with those values. And if you don't, you're going to be upset. There's going to be this, I don't know how to explain it. There's a physical feeling inside where,
in your
oh,
gut or your
something's not
chest or
right.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes.
And the belief system, I mean, you can't trust your own belief system. You have to, it's hard. It's a hard concept in a way, but you have to question yourself. What do I truly believe?
Hmm.
Because like you just got used to it, but you never asked yourself about it.
Exactly. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You can do that the logical way. So you're thinking in your conscious mind. And I have something like that in the book when it gets to the values part, where from an optometrist standpoint, it's what's better, one or two. And so I list some of
I
the
like that.
major values, and then you say, what is more important, my spirituality or my family? This or that. And you have to make it's a forced choice, just like checking
Yep.
eyes. So that's just normal for me to ask
Yeah.
things that way. But that's a really good way to be able to, figure out what your values are. But another way is to ask the unconscious mind, and you can do that. Sometimes we have different values in different areas, but let's just say we're just saying it in general. So, what is my value when it comes to relationships? And you have someone else ask, or you can ask yourself quickly, but you want to write it down, write it down, write it down as fast as you can, because then you're getting into your subconscious mind, and
Yep.
your subconscious mind is what runs everything. So if you're not asking your subconscious mind, you might get a different um, answer from the conscious mind because it wants to be right, it wants to feel comfortable, it wants to be accepted, so it might choose things that really aren't your
Your truth.
actual values. But when
Yeah.
you go into your subconscious mind and you ask it quickly, basically you're asking it fast enough so that the conscious mind can't think that fast.
What about, I think I asked you this before, and we didn't really get into it, but the eye, there's an eye determination test thing that people can do. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Were you asking about dominant eye or something else?
Not dominant eye, but it's like to help people. It's like a pattern or something. I don't know, but to get over certain trauma or to get through certain things, there's like an eye pattern that they have you do. Do you know what I'm talking about? I can't remember the name
I
of it.
can only guess again now,
Yeah, just guess.
but
It's
there's so many things that come with eyes. So one of the things is there's a little, how about I share this? Because there's so many things I could tell.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but when it comes to just basic eye exercises that anybody can do, if you do what's called the clock exercise, where you're just looking up at 12 o'clock and then 1 o'clock, then 2 o'clock, then 3 o'clock, and you're going around the clock and then you come around back the other way, if there's places where you have trouble looking into, there's some trauma there. So if you just spend a
Ah,
little more time, so when you first do that exercise, you might only look up for 10 seconds because it gets, when you look up straight, you want to look really hard, like as far up as you can. And then at 1 o'clock, as hard to that direction as you can. And hold it and, of course, breathe. But you'll find that some places when you look are blurrier or you don't want to go in that direction.
ah,
Just by doing that physical exercise, it's going to clear some of those traumas. And you don't have to know what they are, but you know there's a trauma there because you
that's
don't look in
cool.
that direction. And
I never heard
you go
that.
at clockwise and counterclockwise.
That brought me up another question though, but it has nothing to do with the trauma. You know what a rebounder, like a trampoline?
Yes.
My father-in-law, before he passed, he said that he would do the rebounder and he would look at a certain place and he actually got his eyesight came back better. Is that true?
I use the rebounder so
Do you?
much.
Do you?
You
Okay.
can use it to help people who have attention issues because they can get in control of their reactions using the rebounder. You can use it to improve your vision, your visual acuity, and it's just, it resets even just by jumping on it, by not even doing any exercise at all. You're kind of rebooting the brain. It's such a healthy thing to do. And I tell people, even if you turn on music, put two songs, that's about 6 minutes, just put two songs and do the rebounder just jumping up and down, that's helpful. But then there's
I love
other
it.
exercises you can do where you're moving your hands. And people think, well, that's easy just to move your hands like this and jump. But some people hands do all sorts of things, or if I tell them I want them to clap and then do different things, they have trouble. So doing a circle like this, if their circle's not circular,
Yeah.
there's a problem there. If they can't do it this direction, there's a
Ah,
problem there. So I'll have them do things with their hands, with their feet. I'll also put patterns up on a board, like in a row, almost like you're reading it like music. And I'll say, okay, when you say A, you're going to clap your hands. When you see B, you're not going to say anything. When you see C, you're going to say C. When you see blue, you're going to turn to the right. So they have to do this.
wow.
And the way I do it is that just like when you're learning music, if you
Hmm.
make a mistake, when I'm working with them, I'll tell them, hey, you made a mistake, you got to stop. And they have to go back to the beginning. But the goal is after a while, I say, okay, now you stop yourself when you make the mistake. But this is really great for self-regulation because one, it teaches you to um, do things with perfect practice. Two, you get in control of your own actions, reactions, your voice. And you do that because you're learning to stop yourself when you're not doing things right and to notice and be
Ah,
aware. But also, I'm having someone jump. So when they jump, when their feet hit the rebounder, that's when they have to do the action. So it's also about timing. And
Wow.
so they have to be able to do that. So a lot of people who have attention problems, they'll react ahead of time, like they don't think and then they react. Well, this teaches them to think
Respond.
and respond and have control over that response.
That's fabulous. I love my rebounder. I do a half an
Mhm.
hour. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. But so if I wanted to get my eyesight back, what's the process for that?
Well, that's very more
Is
complicated
it okay? It's not just
question.
staring
It
at a
depends on where
direction.
are you starting, first of all. Some people are starting with just a small prescription. Some people were born with eyes that measured a certain
I see.
way. And so they have
Yeah,
a really strong prescription. So it just depends on where you're starting. And
gotcha.
there's a lot of different eye exercises to do depending on what you need.
Okay, well that's cool. That's cool. Um, what would be one big transformational shift that you did in your life? Can you share anything?
Um, sure. I mean, just talking about, well, just since we're talking about vision, let's talk about vision.
Okay,
So, about 30 years ago, I actually put myself through a program of vision therapy, and I had a therapist. And prescriptions are written in diopters, and they're quarters and dollars like money. So my prescription was $3 and $3
that's
nearsightedness.
what
And
mine is. I think 3.
okay,
Well, I have one long, one short, one long. So
okay. So yeah, 3.00, 3.00, minus 3.00, 3.00 in each eye. And I did vision therapy program just to get my eyes to work efficiently. And when I did that, my prescription went down. Now it's a 1.25 and a 1.00. It's been like that for 30 years.
wow,
Also, usually we don't say ages, but I'll say it this time. I turned 60 this year. I need nothing for reading. How many 6-year-olds do you know that need nothing for reading?
none.
So, getting your vision efficient, getting your body integrating with the vision, makes a big difference for people.
Was that
Stable.
because you were younger though? Could you do it now at 60, do you think?
Could I do the
Could you do that program at 60 and get the same results or no?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It doesn't
Oh, you
matter how
could.
old. I've worked with older people. I've also worked with people after they've had a stroke or brain injury.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, you're just retraining the brain. So even after brain injury, where parts of the brain are broken, if you will, they destroyed. The cool thing about the brain is it can differentiate into whatever it needs to. So it uses the healthy parts, and we just make a new brain pathway.
I love that. I love that. Look at this, 2 60-year-olds. I'm 68. I got contacts in, I won't lie. But I got a positive and a negative. So I think they're both threes. Interesting. I would love to be able to do that. How long did it take you to do that?
About 3 months.
Really? Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Wow. So what about any really great, amazing stories about your clients? Any big transformations that you want to share with them? You don't name any names or anything.
Yes, yes. So, um, sometimes people have um, filters, fears, beliefs that are keeping them from moving forward. I worked with someone where he had traumatic event happen, and all of a sudden he started having high blood pressure, he got diabetes all at
Wow.
once. And then right after that, he got in a car accident. So you're thinking, but
Bad
I
luck
think
is following
some
the
of it
person.
has to do with the emotional state where he was, where he's attracting some of this stuff. And I said, "Oh, what happened during that time?" He said, "Well, I was working as the something like a president of this company, and I was demoted because it was the company was losing money and whatever." And
Blamed
so
him.
that really impacted him, his feeling about
Self-esteem.
himself, things like that. And then after he had the accident where he had hurt his ankle, he had rehabilitated. He was walking just fine, but after that, he couldn't walk across a parking lot or any open space. He was afraid to actually walk across it, which doesn't make sense at all, right? But our subconscious mind sometimes put
Very
together things that
powerful.
don't really make sense. And so we just took them through some transformational work that kind of removed some of those filters. We didn't have to talk about the trauma. That's the
Hmm.
good thing about what I do. I don't care about the details.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for patterns, which is what I've done for 30 years. I
Wow.
just look for patterns. I'm like, okay, this is the pattern that's happening. Let's just eliminate the pattern. And that's what we did. And he almost immediately that week, I said, start by walking backwards, which sounds funny, but start by walking backwards whenever you're in an open space. And he did that. And I said, then start by doing sideways and then turn around. And by the end of the week, he was walking his neighborhood doing just fine. But I know that sounds like a really a, like extreme example, but our minds are so funny how they put things together and something can happen like that even with a very capable person.
So what happened is, okay, so he could walk forward, but did his blood pressure normalize or anything else like that happen for him?
I did not ask him that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. That's okay. I like you, I'm curious.
Mhm.
So interesting. Yes, our brains and our subconscious is just, but that's the beauty about coaching. See, coaching, you don't have to have all the details. You just, and change happens in a nanosecond. It's not like therapy, right? Therapy, they take years to go through. Oh, and this, my mother and my father. Yeah. But coaching is just boom, forward.
It took 2 sessions.
Yeah. It's
2 sessions.
amazing.
That's it.
How incredible is that?
Mm.
Wow. Happiness is a choice, you're telling us.
Yes.
And but it's a hard choice because if you're used to not being happy, there's all kinds of the personality of somebody who is they 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 complain all the time, or they're the martyr, or those different personality types. So how do you work with them? How do you tell people, visualize happiness if they haven't been happy?
Yeah. So, this people have heard this over and over, but I'm going to say it again because it's so true. Find something in your environment to be happy about. I mean, whether it be the hot water coming out of your shower, think about it. There's people in the world that don't even have clean water to drink, or they're
Yeah,
walking 3 miles to get water that's not even
yeah.
drinkable.
Potable. Yeah,
So just start listing it. Get yourself, if you're like to write, get yourself a little journal and start writing down all the things you're thankful for. I don't care how small they are. Oh, I'm thankful that my, daughter gave me a hug this morning. Whatever it is, just start making a list. And again, because I worked in a industry where we had people who didn't like reading or writing or things like that sometimes, um, our phones have things we can record with. Just turn on the recorder and start saying the things,
yeah, yeah.
whatever you need to do.
Do you find though that there is a brain to hand that kind of does work better? Like when you do
It
write
does
with your
it
hand,
does work better, but
it still works if
people
you.
who are dyslexic or
Mhm.
feel like they can't do writing or they can't spell, they have a trouble with that. So,
Yeah.
and for some people, they're kinesthetic.
Hmm.
It may be just thinking of the feeling of that. So,
Yeah.
whatever way you operate, kinesthetic or auditory or visual, or if you like to write or you like to say out loud, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I always think of a puppy. Puppies always make me happy. So
Mhm,
that's my back pocket happy place. Just bring out that little puppy. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can find that as a happy start for themselves.
mhm.
So, okay, so we're gonna think, I've got my happiness now. I've thought of my puppy. I'm happy for the second now, but I got to be happy for another 10 seconds and another couple hours and then another day. Are we happy all the time?
I think what you want to distinguish between happy and joy. So
Okay.
happy is usually from experiences that happen or don't happen outside of us. And when I wrote this book, Visualizing Happiness, I use that because happiness is a buzzword, but we're
Mm,
really talking about inner joy. So even when really bad things are happening, you can have that inner joy. And uh, one of the things, one of the reasons I wrote this book is to actually help people find that. So when you look in the book, you'll see the first part where you actually have to make a response is, who am I? And that sounds like, well,
so
I know who
hard.
I am,
Oh, I think
but
it's hard.
but I ask specific questions so people can go through,
Hmm.
who am I? So what do I like? Who are the people I want to be around?
Yeah,
Do I like to work on my own or do I like work with other people? Am
good
I an
questions.
introvert or an extrovert? All those things are important. And then of course it asks values and then you put it all together. So this book that I wrote is it does have the kind of research at the beginning of happiness, but then it's very practical. There's places where you can write in there, so you write the answers. And by the time you get to the end, you put it on your calendar. So you have your values, you know what's important, you know what you want, and then you're going to put it on your calendar because nothing happens. I don't know about you, but nothing happens unless I put it on my calendar. So
Yep.
even things like I'm going to go to Disney World someday. Well, if you don't put that, even though it's going to be 18 months from now, if you don't put that on your calendar, it's not going to happen. Your family's never going.
Right.
So I have people put things on their calendar like, what do I want to do every week to go towards my goals? What do I want to do every day? What do you want? What's every quarter? And then, of course, you want to reassess every season because things change. I mean, we have soccer right now, but next month is baseball. So you have to figure out,
Right.
so when you know who you are, the things you like, and what's important to you, then you can create a life that you want, but you still are in charge of creating it. It's not
Right.
just going to happen because if you don't create it, what happens is you get the life that everyone else around you gives you.
This is it.
Nobody wants that. That's just like
No.
a yucky feeling, like out of control, like feeling like you're pushing here and there, being pushed everywhere, just like a boat with no oar. I mean, who wants to be like that? Take the time
Yep.
to figure out who you are, what you like, what's important, what it is you really want. Because life is very short. And that's one of the things I also put in the book. I had a fiance that died 9 weeks before we were supposed to get
Oh
married.
my gosh, I'm so
And
sorry.
it was just before I was about to publish the book. So I actually put that in the book.
Wow.
But you don't know. My dad had a car accident years ago, and that's one of the things that made me start looking at my values and what was important. I was a workaholic, and I'm like, I have to stop this because
Mm,
I need to spend time with my family. I need to do different things. You don't know when you're going to be taken, and there's young people taken all the time.
yep.
There's people who get, Alzheimer's, and all of a sudden they're not, even though they're still here, they're not really here, the same people. So,
Yeah.
and you don't know what's going to happen to you. We hope they're all going to be healthy and continue on, but we
So
we
true.
we don't
So
we
true.
don't know. So let's make the most of every day. Don't wait till next year to decide to create something beautiful for yourself.
So interesting, Kimberly, because we both wrote a book. My book is on change, a prescription for change, basically, which sounds a lot like your book on visualizing happiness, because in both you have to change, and change you have to go, from the safe place over here. Maybe you have to cross a little bit of water to do it, but nothing's going to change unless you do it. And like my perspective was, we come into this world alone and we leave it alone. And it sounds a little selfish to some people to say, choose yourself, choose what's going to make you happy, because it might make somebody in your sphere unhappy, but you have to, because this is your life. It's the only one you're going to get in this body, let's say. And so if you don't choose you and you're always choosing other people, you're never going to be happy in this life, right? How does anybody ever say that to you about the selfish part?
Yeah, and what I tell them is love yourself first. We all have to love ourselves first. And I actually learned that from someone when I wrote this book. I interviewed people to find out different ways that they find happiness. And one of the people that I wrote about in here said that. And I'm like, because I had been, I grew up in a family, like I said, we were always giving, giving, giving. And he said that. And he said, yeah, I tell my daughters that every day. Who do you love? And that he taught them to say, I love myself.
Oh, that's great.
And so I learned that from him several years ago when I wrote this book. And I thought, that's right.
Loving
How
yourself
could
is so
we
hard
possibly
though.
love anyone else if we haven't loved ourselves?
And that's, when I talk to people, that's one of the hardest things is to love yourself. And people always do say, if you can't love other people, if you don't love yourself. And yet we do love other people, but we treat ourselves, especially that inner voice, so mean, especially women. A woman will look in the mirror, oh my God, you're so fat, you're so ugly, you're so this, you're so that. Something you would never ever say to another person, you say to yourself in the meanest voice. That's not love, right? But I don't know why we do that, but we do it.
Mhm.
And that's not kind. And so we have to stop.
It really isn't kind. And that reminded me of flashback of a memory. Um, the fiance I said that died. One time I was noticed I was gaining some weight, and I said to him, "Oh, I'm getting fatter. I don't like this." And he's like, "Please don't say that to me." He said, "When I see you perfectly, and you're so beautiful." He said,
Aw.
"Don't shatter my picture of you. Don't shatter what I feel about you by telling me any of your flaws or any of your shortcomings." He said, "I see you as this perfect, beautiful, um
Aw.
he say like
I said angel.
I love butterflies." So he was learning because he had kind of a sometimes he would go on, they talk about being a little negative, sometimes he'd go in a rant about what he didn't like, and after a while he learned to not do that, and when he did, he'd say butterflies, butterflies, Kimberly
Okay.
butterflies. So he would learn to be positive by
That's a
replacing
reframe.
me and thinking of butterflies. It's a frame, exactly. And so, but he said, don't shatter my vision of you. I
Wow.
see you as this beautiful, loving, kind person, and you're just perfect the way you are. And if we could just think of ourselves that way, what view, what vision do we want to have of ourselves? And keep putting that vision in front. Okay, who am I today? Use that frame. This is the frame of who I am today, regardless of what it looks like in the mirror. I do have this one mirror in my house. It's actually downstairs in front of the front door. So when you come in, you see it. And I don't know what's special about this mirror, but it makes you look thinner.
I love it.
And so I love that mirror. So I'll walk in and I'll look at myself in the mirror.
Oh, I
It's
feel good.
funny. I'll look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh, I'm looking good today. You know, so sometimes I think we just need to change our mirrors.
Yeah. And as part of that reframe the narrative for women too, because I really do feel that, and we're so mean to one another and to ourselves, but we look at other women and go, oh, they got fat, they got old, they got this, they got that. And in reality, we're saying that about ourselves too.
Mhm.
But it's the media and how we're portrayed and how we're not allowed to get old, how we're not allowed. They don't show that. Oh, you're old, you're going to get fired. You can't be on in TV and you can't be here and you can't be there. And so we see this. This is our model, and we see this, and we go, I don't meet it. I don't meet it anymore. And when you hit our age, when I hit 50, I was okay. 55, 58, you start to really become invisible. You walk into a room, nobody's looking at you anymore. You're like you're just invisible now. That's very hard for women, I think, to go from being seen to being unseen. And for the ego, it shatters your ego and it just shatters your self-esteem, basically, because you go, I'm a good person, I'm smart, people should know me. Like there's nothing, I'm the same person I was 10 years ago. I just don't have the same, I got a couple wrinkles now or whatever, but that's so hard, like internally to take, you know. And I think a lot of women suffer from that.
And can I say something about that?
Yeah, I hope you
It's
will.
really what you project. I just saw it was a little video just yesterday of Barbara Eden, who was
Oh,
I Dream of
she looks
Jeannie, if
beautiful.
you can
Yeah.
remember her. 94 years old. So she's all wrinkled now. She's definitely wrinkled. But in the picture of her, her eyes are shining. You can see that same beautiful, energetic woman, even though her body is looking
Nice.
like that. She's projecting the same image she had when she was I Dream of Jeannie, that, everybody wanted to be I Dream of Jeannie, right? When we were
Yeah.
but she's still projecting that. So she looked just as beautiful. And so I think what we project is very important. So
Mm.
if you walk into a room and you stop for a minute and as you walk in, you are projecting that, hey, I'm 20 and I am hot
And I'm here.
and I'm here, you're going to get a different reaction. I don't care. And I'm not talking about being, what do you call it, conceited or whatever.
No,
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being purely that beautiful
a
person,
vibration.
that vibration of that person.
Hmm.
And I actually experienced that. I had to go buy a new washer and dryer because mine fell apart. And as I was walking out of the place, there was someone coming in, and I held the door for him, and he said, "Thank you." And he's like, "What is your name?" It's like he wanted to pick me up, and I'm like, and I just said, "Oh, my name's Kimberly. Nice to see you. Nice to see you." And then he went in. But it's really, again, what you project. Are you
Yeah,
still acting like the younger person who would be friendly, who would be outgoing? Act the way you want to be reacted to or
good
responded to.
advice. Good advice. Thank you for that. Are you listening? That's awesome. Tell people how they can reach you?
They can reach me on LinkedIn or Facebook. Also, I'm always looking for people for my podcast. So, my podcast email is incrediblelifepodcast@gmail.com. So, if you want to pitch me to be on my show, I would love that.
Who are you looking for? What kind of
Um,
people?
so my podcast is about finding your passion and purpose and living it. And I do that by having so many different kinds of people on there so that it sparks people's creativity to think about what is next for them. Because
Love
just because
that.
you're doing one thing doesn't mean you can't do something else. And,
Exactly.
and so for me, the people doing the more unique things or something different is what I'm looking for.
Love
So that,
that.
we have different ideas. Yeah.
And I've looked through your guests, and it looks to me like social impact is important to you. Helping others is still important to you. Same here.
Yes.
Who do you want to help? Like what's passionate for you in that space?
In the space of the podcast,
Not your podcast, but just in your life, like
in my
helping
life,
people. Hmm.
I mean, my personal mission, just as long as I'm breathing, is to help people feel loved, important, and needed. And is that their gift is important, and they need to contribute that gift.
I love that.
And my professional background is in helping people get the abilities they need to, one, have the courage to um, start working on that gift or start sharing that gift, but not just that, but to master it. Because of my background in therapy, I just love helping people master something like,
So you're
you
saying, you're saying that everybody comes in with a gift,
Mhm.
everybody, and it's like a little pearl somewhere inside that they haven't found yet, and you help them find that and bring it out. I love that.
Exactly. And sometimes they have found it and they just need help distributing it
Expanding it.
or expanding it.
I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. You're just an amazing person. You really are. You radiate that happiness and you radiate just love. And it's a joy to know you. It really is.
Thank you.
We're going to say goodbye, Facebook. Thank you so much for having us. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.